This is Mamuni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba Ma.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss how to solve a double column cash book with cash and bank columns. So let's get started. Chalo, shuru kora jak. Please remember all cash receipts are recorded on the debit side in the cash column and all cash payments are recorded on the credit side in the cash column. Okay? And all checks received are recorded on the debit side in the bank column and all checks paid are recorded on the credit side in the bank column. Okay? And please remember, cash column always represents cash account and the bank column always represents bank account. Okay? Now let's go through the problem. Now see, this is the problem. Cash book, double column. Enter the following transactions in a double column cash book. Here is the column for date, here is the column for transactions, and here is the amount column. Okay, now let's see the first transaction. 1st March, bank overdraft 14,000. Bank overdraft means it's a credit balance. And cash in hand on the same date, 1st March, is 3,000. This is the opening balance of bank, but it's a credit balance. Since it's a credit balance, we'll have to write on the credit side in the bank columns. So we'll have to write by balance BD in the bank column on the credit side 14,000. Cash in hand is a debit balance. So we will write to balance BD 3,000 in the cash column on the debit side. Okay. Please remember, cash column always shows a debit balance, but a bank column may show a debit balance or a credit balance. If the bank column shows a credit balance, it is known as bank overdraft. See here. যখনই ব্যাংক ওভারড্রাফট থাকবে তোমাকে ক্রেডিট সাইডে ব্যাংক কলামে লিখতে হবে বাই ব্যালেন্স বিডি। আন্ডারস্টুড? এখানে ব্যাংক ওভারড্রাফটও বলতে পারে বা শুধু ওভারড্রাফটও বলতে পারে। ক্যাশ ইন হ্যান্ড মিন্স ক্যাশ কলাম। Cash column always shows a debit balance. So we'll always have to write to balance BD. Cash in hand means opening balance of cash. It always shows a debit balance. But bank column may show a debit balance or a credit balance. Had it been a debit balance, we would have written to balance BD in the bank column on the debit side 14,000. Since it's a credit balance, কি করে বুঝলাম? Bank overdraft always means a credit balance. So we'll have to write by balance BD on the credit side in the bank column 14,000. And there will be no journal entry. So the question of narration does not arise. What is bank overdraft? Bank overdraft means an arrangement under which a current account holder or a bank customer who has a current account in a bank is allowed to withdraw more than the balance to his or her credit up to the specified limit. Please remember, overdraft is allowed for a short period and interest is charged on overdraft. So bank overdraft is a kind of loan, and this facility is given to the bank customers, and in return some interest is charged from the customers. Okay, so now let's write to balance BD 2,000 in the cash column and by balance BD 14,000 in the bank column. Okay, let's do it. On 1st March, by balance BD, how much? 14,000 in the bank column. Okay, and cash in hand 3,000. So we'll write on the debit side. It's written on the credit side, bank overdraft is a credit balance, and that is the reason 14,000 has been written in the credit column. Bank overdraft money ki তোমার ব্যাংকে তোমার কারেন্ট অ্যাকাউন্টে যা অ্যামাউন্ট আছে তার থেকে বেশি অ্যামাউন্ট তুমি উইথড্র করতে পারো, বাট সেই জন্য তোমাকে একটা ইন্টারেস্ট পেমেন্ট করতে হবে। জাস্ট বিকজ ব্যাংক তোমাকে একটা ফ্যাসিলিটি দিচ্ছে, সাপোজ তোমার অ্যাকাউন্টে 10,000 আছে, তুমি তার থেকে বেশি অ্যামাউন্ট উইথড্র করতে পারবে, বাট এই ফ্যাসিলিটিটা ব্যাংক তোমাকে দিচ্ছে, তার বদলে ব্যাংক তোমার থেকে একটা ইন্টারেস্ট চার্জ করবে। ওকে, এটাকেই বলা হয় ব্যাংক ওভারড্রাফট, অ্যান্ড দিস ফ্যাসিলিটি ইজ গিভেন ফর এ ভেরি শর্ট পিরিয়ড। ওকে, ইন্টারেস্ট চার্জ করবে ব্যাংক, তার বদলে তোমাকে এই ফ্যাসিলিটিটা দেবে। আন্ডারস্টুড? সো উইল রাইট টু ব্যালেন্স বিডি in the cash column 3,000. Okay, so now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 5th March, check paid to Kumar 2,000 and discount received 100. So what will be the journal entry for this check paid to Kumar? The journal entry will be Kumar account debit to bank account. See, check is mentioned, so we'll have to write bank account. So Kumar account debit to bank account. So what is the position of bank account? So always remember, since we are preparing double column cash book, we'll have to look at the position of cash account and bank account. আর কারোর অ্যাকাউন্ট আমাদের দেখার দরকার নেই, আমাদের সবসময় ক্যাশ অ্যাকাউন্টের পজিশন আর ব্যাঙ্ক অ্যাকাউন্টের পজিশন দেখতে হবে, কুমারের পজিশন দেখতে হবে না। কেন? বিকজ ইন আ ডাবল কলাম ক্যাশ বুক উই ওনলি হ্যাভ টু কলামস, ক্যাশ কলাম অ্যান্ড ব্যাঙ্ক কলাম। আমাদের সেই জন্য দুটো পজিশন দেখতে হবে, একটা ক্যাশ অ্যাকাউন্টের পজিশন কি, ব্যাঙ্ক অ্যাকাউন্টের পজিশন কি, আর তাছাড়া কারো অ্যাকাউন্টের পজিশন দেখতে হয় না। সো সিন্স ব্যাঙ্ক অ্যাকাউন্ট ইজ অন দ্য ক্রেডিট সাইড, Kumar will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by Kumar account on the credit side in the cash book in the bank column 2,000. Okay, so let's write. And moreover, discount received will be ignored. 100 will be ignored. Discount received rupees 100 will not be recorded in the double column cash book. Why? Because there is no discount received column. Okay, so let's write 5th March by Kumar account 2,000 being check paid to Kumar. Moreover, bank column represents bank account, and bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here, when check is paid to Kumar, bank is the giver of check, so 2,000 will be credited. Now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 10th March, tuition fees of children paid by check 4,000. Please remember, private expenses or personal expenses of the proprietor always termed as drawings and not tuition fees. Instead of tuition fees, we'll write drawings account. So what will be the journal entry? The journal entry will be drawings account debit to bank account since check is mentioned. Okay, so what is the position of bank account? Since bank account is on the credit side, drawings account will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by drawings account in the cash book in the bank column 4,000. Okay, so let's write on 10th March by drawings account how much? 4,000 being tuition fees paid. Okay, moreover, bank column represents bank account. Bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here, when check is paid for tuition fees, bank is the giver of check, so 4,000 will be credited. Understood? Now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 12th March, bank charges 1,000. So what will be the journal entry? The journal entry will be bank charges account debit to bank account. So what is the position of bank account? Since bank account is on the credit side, bank charges will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write buy bank charges account in the cash book on the credit side in the bank column 1000. Okay, so let's write 12th March buy bank charges being bank charges paid. Buy bank charges account 1000, and moreover bank column represents bank account. Bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here when bank charges is paid, bank is the giver of cash. So 1000 will be deducted. Please remember bank charges always bank নিজের থেকে কেটে নেয়, আমাদের আলাদা করে ক্যাশ দিতে হয় না. Bank charges always get deducted from the bank. So 1000 will be deducted from bank, and so 1000 will be credited. Understood? Now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 18th March sold goods and received check 16,000. So what will be the journal entry? The journal entry will be bank account debit to sales account. Why bank? See, check is mentioned here. So bank account debit to sales account. We'll have to write to sales account in the cash book on the debit side in the bank column 16,000. Okay, so let's write on 18th March to sales account. How much? 16,000. Goods sold and check received. So your bank balance has increased. তাহলে আমার ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্টে লিখতে হবে 16,000. চেক means bank. Being goods sold and check received. Moreover, bank column represents bank account, and bank account comes under personal. According to personal account, the receiver of the benefit is debit. Here, when goods are sold, check is received. So bank is the receiver of check. So 16,000 will be debited. Understood? Now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 25th March sold goods for cash 7,000. So what will be the journal entry? The journal entry will be cash account debit to sales account. So what is the position of cash account? Since cash account is on the debit side, sales account will also be on the debit side. So we'll have to write to sales account in the cash book on the debit side 7,000. Okay, so now let's write on 25th March to sales account goods sold for cash 7,000. So it should be in the cash column. Being goods sold for cash. Okay, and moreover cash column represents cash account, and cash account comes under real account. According to real account, what comes in is debit. Here when goods are sold, cash comes into the business, so 7,000 will be debited. Understood? Now let's see the last transaction. The last transaction is on 29th March purchase goods for cash 8,000. What will be the journal entry? The journal entry will be purchases account debit to cash account. So what is the position of cash account? Since cash account is on the credit side, purchases account will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by purchases account in the cash book on the credit side in the cash column 8,000. Okay, so let's write. So on 29th March, by purchases account 8,000, being goods purchased for cash. And moreover, cash column represents cash account, and cash account comes under real account. According to real account, what goes out is credit. Here, when goods are purchased, cash goes out from the business, so 8,000 will be credited. And now let's calculate the total of cash column on the debit side and the cash column on the credit side. So the total of cash column on the debit side is 10,000, and the total of cash column on the credit side is 8,000. So can we write 8,000? No. যে টোটালটা বড় আমাদের সেটাই লিখতে হবে। So we'll have to write 10,000 on the credit side also. So what will be the balancing figure? Since the cash book is not balanced, so the total of cash column on the credit side is 8,000 and the total of cash column on the debit side is 10,000. So deduct the total of cash column on the credit side from the total of cash column on the debit side. So deduct 8,000 from 10,000, you'll get by balance CD 2,000. What is this 2,000? This is the closing cash or cash in hand, and the date will always be the last day of the month, that is 31st March. Okay, similarly now we have to calculate the total of bank column on the debit side and the total of bank column on the credit side. So let's do it. So the total of bank column on the debit side is 16,000 and the total of bank column on the credit side is 21,000. So whichever is bigger, we have to write on the both sides. So we'll have to write the total of credit side, 21,000. We can't write 16,000, that is the total of debit side. So credit side total হয়েছে bank column 21,000 আর debit side bank column total হয়েছে 16,000. বাট আমাদের কি লিখতে হবে, যেই সাইডটার টোটাল বড় সেই সাইডের টোটাল লিখতে হবে। সো ক্রেডিট সাইডের 21,000 ওটাই আমাদের এখানে লিখতে হবে। তো আমাদের বাই ব্যালেন্স সিডি ব্যাঙ্ক কলামে আসবে না, বিকজ ক্রেডিট সাইড অলরেডি 21,000। তাহলে আমাদের কোন সাইডটা ব্যালেন্স করতে হবে, ডেবিট সাইড। উই হ্যাভ টু ব্যালেন্স ডেবিট সাইড বিকজ দেয়ার ইজ এ শর্টফল on the debit side in the bank column, not on the credit side. Credit side's total is already 21,000. So we'll have to balance the cash book on the debit side in the bank column. So we'll have to write to balance CD. How much? 21,000 minus 16,000, that is 5,000. Understood? Last day in the month of March, that is 31st March. এখানে ক্যাশ কলামে ডেবিট সাইডে টোটাল বিগার ছিল, তাই জন্য শর্টফল ক্রেডিট সাইড হয়েছে, তাই ক্যাশ কলামে বাই ব্যালেন্স সিডি এসছে। বাট ব্যাঙ্ক কলামের টোটাল ক্রেডিট সাইডের টোটাল বড় হয়েছে 21,000, তাহলে টু ব্যালেন্স সিডি ডেবিট সাইডে আসবে, দ্যাট ইজ 5,000. নাও বাই ব্যালেন্স সিডি ক্যাশ কলামে যেটা উইল হ্যাভ টু রাইট ডাউন টু ব্যালেন্স বিডি. This by balance CD 2,000 will be brought down to balance BD. 2,000 will be written beneath the debit side total 2,000 cash column tolai, and this to balance CD 5,000 will be brought down beneath the credit total by balance BD. By balance BD beneath the bank, how much? 5,000. Okay, and what will be the date? Date will be April 1st. The next day, this will be also 1st April, and this will be also 1st April. This is the closing cash of the business. The business is still running and business has not been shut down. So this will be the opening cash of the business again in the month of April. Okay, this is the closing balance of bank, and this is the opening balance of bank 5,000, and this is again the bank overdraft. Why? This is a credit balance, so it's a overdraft again in the month of April. Understood? Okay, see to balance BD যেরকম আমরা মার্চে করেছিলাম 3,000, ওই একই জিনিস to balance BD 2,000. Understood? Closing balance of February is the opening balance of March. Similarly, the closing balance of March will be the opening balance of April. Okay? So I hope you understood. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was helpful. And before I fade out, please remember, life is a one-time offer, no second chances. So use it well. Bye-bye. Take care, stay safe, and stay blessed always.